Does this sound familiar to you? Your team executes an attack onto the site only to be shut down by the enemy because your duelist is off lurking elsewhere. It's frustrating, but it doesn't have to be that way. I'm Konpeki, and I'll cover all the basics of lurking in this guide. Understanding lurking can turn these situations around, helping you avoid unnecessary losses and even converting them into wins. In this video, you'll also learn to better recognize your teammates' lurking habits, allowing you to adjust your mid-round play for better results. Throughout the video, we'll establish a mental checklist of 5 core aspects of lurking that you can instantly apply to your games going forward. Let's dive in and master the art of lurking together. Oh, and by the way, if you're interested in learning more about lurking and every other aspect of Valorant, I've got a crazy offer for you. My team of VCT level coaches and I can help you rank up 500 RR in 10 weeks guaranteed, or your money back. Because of this crazy guarantee, my team and I want to personally get to know you first with a free 45-minute consultation call to see if we could actually help you reach your goals. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to waste your time and money, and we also want to give our limited spots to people who can actually take full advantage of all the resources that we have inside the program. With that being said, if you're interested, use a link in the description below to book a free call with us, and hurry because we just opened up 60 new coaching spots in April, but only 12 spots remain. Now, back to the video. Before discussing the nuances of lurking and how your timing and communication alone can seriously impact every round, let's first establish what a lurk is and when lurking is genuinely viable. Lurking is when a player on your team operates independently, away from the core of your attack. Lurking is all about playing undetected, constantly identifying setups and threats to your own team, and being a spy on the enemy team. A good lurk aims to accomplish 2 main goals: establishing a foothold on the weak side of the map while relaying important information to your teammates for the mid-round. But do you always need a lurk from round to round? And if so, who should be lurking? Well, not every round requires a lurk, and in some rounds, playing away from your team tends to risk more than it gains. A perfect example of this is on an anti-eco round, meaning rounds where your buy is substantially stronger than the enemy team. Let's use the second round after winning the pistol round as an example of when not to lurk. After winning a pistol round, your team will have more utility and stronger weapons than the enemy, so having your whole team fighting and securing trades together will almost always be safer than playing alone, potentially getting picked off, and handing your upgraded weapon to the enemy. When the enemy team only has guns like classics, they are way more likely to play together and try to overwhelm their opponents with numbers, since their firepower isn't favored in even one-on-ones. Not only can the simple strategy of stronger guns equals no lurk be applied to your own gameplay, but you can also relay this information to your team to help avoid losing easy to win rounds because of a bad lurk made by one of your teammates. So, our first checkbox will be only lurk on rounds where your team's buy is equal to the enemy team. Now that we understand when lurking is advantageous, let's consider which team member should take on the lurking role in the first place. The obvious choice for the lurker should almost always be the sentinel of the team. This preference stems from the fact that sentinels typically possess strong passive information gathering abilities and often contribute little to a site take. Killjoy's turret and Cypher's camera epitomize perfect lurking utility, since they collect information without requiring the agents themselves to risk their lives to obtain it. Picture this: you're a Killjoy lurking on Ascent and your turret will have your back. Or you're playing Cypher on Breeze, attempting to find a sneaky timing through mid. Your camera is going to provide excellent information to help plan your every step. Dying early on a lurk ranks among the worst mistakes you can make, as your death results in your team losing all of their weak side map control. A lurking sentinel on attack mirrors the role of a sentinel holding a site on defense. If your sentinel is eliminated first at the start of either round, you're forfeiting the backbone of your team's control. Safeguarding the lurker's safety holds immense significance. To expand on this further, let's consider a scenario where Omen, Jett, Sova, Fade, and Sage make up your team composition on any map. Despite Sage's designation as a sentinel, she lacks sufficient utility to ensure her safety during a lurk, since she lacks actionable information. Moreover, Sage's wall and slows are more suited to repelling enemies attempting to retake the site rather than holding the flank or securing weak side space. Therefore, it may be preferable for Omen, Sova, or Fade to take on the lurking role. Omen's ability to deploy smokes from almost any location allows for strategic positioning, or one initiator can handle the site take while the other gathers information with their abilities on a lurk. Consequently, the second criterion for a successful lurker is they need to possess the utility to ensure their own safety, and they are not indispensable for your team's site takes. Next, consider how to position yourself effectively for lurks. Think about how you plan on displaying dismantling the enemy's defenses and determine which information is vital to communicate to your team. We understand that ensuring your safety is paramount during a lurk, meaning the third objective of our lurk list is you always want to ensure all possible extremities are being held or watched by utility. Let's look at some examples of possible lurk setups for Cypher and Killjoy to help you get started. In this example, Cypher is set up to possibly lurk up mid to not only backstab defenders trying to hold from the tunnel, but his presence also stops players from fast rotating from A to B through mid. He has a trip set up in B elbow to protect his team's flank, and his cam is ready to give him the crucial information needed to decide when to push safely. He also has another trip outside A main to protect him and retain control of the map until then. This is what good weak side map control looks like, but hundreds of variations of utility can work. Just as long as key areas of the map are being held, you're on your way to perfecting your lurks. In most high elo games on Ascent, Killjoy is currently a highly favored pick. Here's how you'll typically see Killjoy set up for lurks through mid or B. For instance, Killjoy may deploy either a turret or an alarm bot at B main to guard their back while their team applies pressure towards A. Given Ascent's smaller size, it's common to spend 20 or even 30 seconds in tiles waiting for an enemy to peek your turret. However, Killjoy isn't just securing the flank for her team while holding the other side of the map. She's also positioning herself strategically to capitalize on mid timings and dismantle the enemy's defenses. So what should you focus on now that you're ready to lurk? Enemy utility is key. Pay attention to all audio and visual cues you encounter while holding your position. So darts, flashes, trips, turrets, dogs, or even boom bots. Everything matters. Once you've pinpointed the positions of a couple enemy team members, you can guess where the rest are and figure out which side of the map is weaker and which is stronger. This knowledge will make it much easier for your team to navigate the map and find success rather than going into each round blindly without knowing where the enemy is. So breaking pieces of utility like sage walls to keep the enemy spread thin, or avoiding them like Sova darts to create timings or holes in the defensive positions is what being a good lurker is all about. But what if your team wants to lean towards the side of the map you've been lurking on? It's simple. You can tell them exactly what to expect and what they can do to counter them. If you know Sova darts the same wall every round, you can tell your team to hide from the dart for a more unexpected sight hit. Or if you know the enemy Reyna peeks off a turret's contact, you can ask for an omen flash and a jet dash to ensure a free kill for your team. The deeper you can think about the enemy's plays and positions, the more impact you will have while lurking. In addition to those examples, you can execute amazing solo plays by exploiting gaps in the defender's setup. Examples I love to highlight include the classic KJ alarm bot on mid ascent or the default KJ turret placed on mid icebox. These two pieces of utility single-handedly surveil all of mid for the defenders on two separate maps. A skilled lurker understands that neutralizing these pieces of utility opens up numerous opportunities for exploiting insane timings. If you observe the highest level of Sentinel players lurking, you'll often notice they have lineups crafted explicitly for this purpose. Take for instance two of the best Sentinel players in the world, Zelsis and Meteor. Zelsis executes a molly lineup to destroy Meteor's turret, creating openings for timings, while Meteor, upon hearing the molly, repositions his turret to prevent it from being destroyed. Lurking revolves around outplaying your opponent and devising solutions to their setups. At the highest levels, Valorant truly resembles a game of chess. That's why the fourth point to mastering our lurks is gathering information and devising counter strategies. Lastly, let's discuss communication when it comes to lurking. In my opinion, effectively communicating information to your team and making mid-round calls are the most crucial aspects of executing a successful lurk. In fact, I would argue that lurking might not be a viable strategy if you lack good communication with your teammates and fail to convey threats or contribute ideas on how your team can approach the game. This makes our fifth and final key to lurking as not only having consistent communication, but also valuable communication. Some of the most valuable pieces of information to share with your team are when you detect the enemy rotating from one side to another, you notice missing utility that's typically present, or you identify that the defenders are pushing out or stacking a site. Each situation gives your team vital extra seconds to execute the right play, significantly boosting your chances of winning the round. Additionally, if you exploit a solo timing and manage to slip onto site or through a gap undetected, calling for your team to rotate can prompt the enemy team to rotate as well, granting you free frags and potentially securing a round. It can be stressful sometimes to try and make calls for your team because you don't want to risk costing your team a round. But I'm here to tell you that making mistakes is all a part of the learning process. There's no better way to learn than to mess up a few rounds in the process. Learning how to lurk effectively doesn't just happen overnight, and being a proactive mid-round caller is difficult. But I'm certain if you follow the 5 steps in this video, you'll be well on your way to developing your own lurking style. That sums it up for this video. Thanks for watching.